Richard, how are we?
I'm doing good.
Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. So I've known you now for a good number of years, and over that time, anytime we have a chat or a discussion, you always drop a new nugget that surprises me about your life. So you'll say something randomly like the time I lived in Iran with the British spies. So, really random stuff like that. So it's true you say that you've lived an absolute fascinating life. I think I could do a 9-part special on you. But we'll just try and cover the highlights today, and if you want to come back some other time to cover the Iranian phase, then we can.
We certainly could.
So we give the listeners an idea of what you're about. So husband and father first.
Absolutely.
Yes. Then serial entrepreneur. So you've started a number of businesses absolutely from scratch and taken them all the way through to exit.
Correct.
You're a dive instructor, but it's not just a simple diving, it's a rebreather.
That's right, try-mix rebreather.
Yeah, and that's something I want to speak to you about later on. It gives me the absolute fear. I watched a documentary on cave diving with rebreathers.
Very dangerous stuff. Yeah.
And that is absolutely my worst nightmare, being stuck in a cave underwater in complete darkness. So
all of that stuff is a mental game. Panic is the killer. I've heard a few people speaking about that in terms of they say they almost kind of choose to die in terms of what when the panic starts. Yeah.
But when you're upside down, you don't know where you are. You're covered in soot and salt. I can understand why people panic.
Yeah.
And the last one, which is a classic example of nuggets I never knew about you until you dropped into a conversation, is semi-professional rock star.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what's the genre of music? I was looking at it last night, so I'll let you explain what it is.
We've defined our own in order to be the biggest fish in the pond. But, we're the grandfathers of industrial darkwave, according to our own Wikipedia page.
The grandfathers of industrial darkwave.
Grandfathers, literally, of course.
Right.
But so
is that kind of goth stuff?
It is. It is sort of in that. I mean. The rest of the band will say we're not goths. I mean, but the reality is that if you go to one of our gigs, you're going to see a lot of gothic type people in the audience.
And I was having a little nosy on the website last night. What's the band called again? Sorry,
it's called Attrition.
Attrition. I was having a bit of a nosy on the website, and some of the gigs that you're doing and tours are quite substantial.
There's a big difference between, an Ed Sheeran or a Taylor Swift, or even anyone that's charting, and the bulk of sort of normal music that fits into the more specialist genres. So even though we have thousands of people listening to our music on a daily basis and can easily get a decent sized audience at a gig, the reality is it doesn't make a lot of money really. So if there's a few thousand a month made out of the gigging, which is enough to keep the band going, it's a privilege for someone like me to be able to come back to the band after 20, 30 years away. And so all that money is funneled to keeping it going with Martin, the lead man, who started it and has been doing it ever since. It funds his activity alongside his very successful recording studio.
Yeah, not many people get to play in front of large audiences and tour around Europe and headline events, do they? So
that's right.